Today in history, July 1918, the Second Battle of the Marne has begun. And today we're going to find out why it was such a big deal. In the summer of 1918, the Germans were in a fighting mood. After 4 years of war, they were exhausted. And so their plan was to strike one final devastating blow to the Western Front, break through the Allied lines and force them to sue for peace. Their objective was a place called Chateau Thierry, which was just east of Paris. If they could take it, then the French would be demoralized and the war would effectively be over. But there was one little problem with this plan. It just so happened that American forces had landed in France a few months prior, and they were stationed right in the region. And so when the Germans began their offensive, it was the Americans who were at the forefront of the defense. Fighting began on July when German troops attacked the American lines near the town of Chateau Thierry. The Americans were quickly pushed back, but they fell back to a prepared defensive position. They held their ground and inflicted heavy casualties on the Germans, who were forced to retreat. Over the next 2 days, the fighting continued. The Americans, along with their French allies, launched a series of attacks, pushing the Germans further and further back. By July, the fighting had reached a small village called The Germans had dug in here and were resisting fiercely. But the Allies were able to dislodge them and push them all the way back to Chateau Thierry. The battle is considered a turning point in the war because it was the first time that the Germans had been pushed back in a major battle since 1914. It also demonstrated the strength of the American military. Up until this point, the U.S. had only been involved in minor engagements in Europe. But at Chateau Thierry, they proved that they were a force to be reckoned with. In total, the battle lasted for 8. The Germans suffered heavy casualties and were forced to retreat. The Allies, meanwhile, suffered fewer casualties and were able to advance. If you want to know more about this, check out the series in the description below. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you can be notified every time we upload a new video. And with that said, I've been your host,